Hey everybody, it's Mr. Regener and welcome to a special edition of the Aftermath. And today we are talking about testing. It is testing season and we're all gearing up for our important air test in reading and math in the 6th grade. And I wanted to share a little testing experience that I had recently, where I recently took a pretty big test to become a Google certified educator. And so this test was a pretty big test. It's like a 3-hour test. I had a lot of practice and preparation beforehand and did a lot of studying, but going into the test, I was still a little bit nervous. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do. And so one of the things that I did is I just made sure that my body was right for testing. So I did that really simply by just getting a lot of sleep and making sure that when I took my test, I wasn't tired or like a zombie. All right, so if you're prepared to test that way, you're obviously going to be thinking a little bit better. Another thing, speaking of the mind and the way the mind works best, is if it's able to function best, if it's healthiest. And so you know how your body is made up of a lot of water. Well, if you drink plenty of fluids, if you drink a lot of water, it actually helps your brain to think. All right, if you get dehydrated, sometimes you get like a headache. Sometimes your body hurts when you're dehydrated. So you want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Now, with that being said, when you drink a lot of water, a lot of stuff has to come out of you. And during a test, you don't want to have to be going to the bathroom all the time. So before a test starts, always go to the bathroom. Sounds kind of, a little too personal maybe. But before my test, that was one thing I had to do, is make sure I went to the bathroom and I was completely ready to go and focus on my test, so I wouldn't have to worry about anything else. Another thing to make sure that you're doing is to review. And I mentioned that I reviewed a lot. We can review the entire year's material. Now, that's a lot to undertake, but just try to go through some of the lessons that we've learned about throughout the year and just try to remember like some of the big headline things. We learned about ratios, of course, computation. Can we add, subtract, multiply, and divide with whole numbers, with integers, positive and negative? Can we do that with fractions? Can we do that with decimals? Some of those basic things we've been working on throughout the year. Think about equations and expressions and inequalities. Those things always seem to come up. All right, so we want to make sure that we're just prepared on some of those main topics. Your test day is going to be here, whether you want it to or not, unfortunately. And so there's not really a way that you can postpone the test. You have to take it on test day. So with that being said, all you can do is prepare yourself as best you can for that test. The final thing that I want to throw out, and this sounds a little bit trippy, is just to go into it with the right attitude. All right, if I go into a test thinking to myself, I'm never going to do well on this test, I'm never going to do well on that test because I've set my mindset to say, I'm going to fail. All right, so if we go into the test with a positive attitude, maybe we're not going to know every answer, but we're going to answer every single question to the best of our ability. That's all we can do, and that's all we can ask. All right, so set your mindset the right way. Have that positive attitude. Go into it without the thought of failure, but with the thought of you're going to successfully attempt every question to the best of your ability. Okay, those are some real simple tips. Those are tips that I used when I took my recent Google test. Again, not comparing the Google test to the air test, not quite the same deal, but I can let you know that I'm proud to say I did pass my Google test because I got plenty of sleep, plenty of water, used the restroom beforehand, I was focused during the test, and I went into it with that positive attitude, thinking that I would just do the best I could. So good luck on your air test this year. I know we've got our reading test coming up, our math test to follow. We just want to do the very best we can on all the tests for this year as we wrap up our year. This is Mr. Regener. This has been a special edition of The Aftermath. Have a great day and good luck on all of your testing.